Sure. So, hi everybody. It's great to be here among all of you, and thank you, Julie, for the invitation. It was a bit of a last moment thing, but I'm sure next time we'll have the time to do it in advance. So, I'm Maria. I'm from Deloitte in Greece, and as it might sound a bit boring to all the interesting stuff we heard before about entrepreneurship. So I'm going to take you a bit to the corporate world. So in Deloitte, the three things that I would say that describe us best is global expertise, global know-how, and our people. I think these are the three elements that can describe best the company, which is it's the biggest consulting company in the world. So a few years back, we started our CSR team that I was leading, the Corporate Sustainability and Responsibility team. And the first few years, we started seeing many different NGOs that they were doing many different things in Greece in order to identify which is the one that matches best with our vision as well in order to cooperate. So we met many different people that, you know, when they hear that there is a big company that is willing to give money, they just come to you and whatever. So one of the companies that we met was Action Hellas. So Action Hellas is an NGO who is focusing on supporting people that they are living in rural areas and especially islands that they are a bit far away from the mainland. They are focusing on three areas, on the health. So basically, every 3 or 4 months, they go with about 100 doctors and they visit these islands and they perform all type of tests to the people. Then they invest in infrastructure, so they build from doctor offices to courts to whatever. And then the third area is the cultural part. So they educate the local people around good nutrition and food and so forth. So when we met these people, we felt that our vision matches a bit theirs because our motto is making an impact that matters and an impact that is going to change at the core of the society and not just offer money that will help instantly and then you're not going to have the long-term impact. So we said we're going to join you in these trips to these islands and we're going to come and see if we can advise these people from the corporate side of things on how maybe to operate a bit better their island. And also what better to take these three components that I mentioned to you in the beginning and offer to the island our services as a pro bono, something that other big clients are paying big money for it. So we went to a few islands before Astypalaia. And when we arrived in Astypalaia, we felt that this is the island that matches better because the important thing is for the island to be able to accept this strategic plan because there are some islands that they are much, much smaller. Unfortunately, they don't have yet very good connections with the mainland or with other islands. So even a strategic plan will not help them get anywhere. They need many other improvements beforehand. So Astypalaia, for us, it seemed that it was the right destination. They had started already showing an interest in change. So they had done the previous year, they did the island smoke-free. They had done plastic and straw free. So we said, we want to work with you. Here, some statistics first on Astypalaia, because most of you mentioned you don't know the island. So the island is a part of a group of islands called Dodecanese. They are on the southern eastern part of Aegean Sea. Dodecanese actually means 12 islands, but in reality, there are 15 big islands and 150 smaller ones, out of which majority the people are living in those. just 20 of those, I think, are not inhabited. So you can see here some of the statistics. The island is, the name of the island in Greece, it's also called Butterfly because the shape of it is like a butterfly. And when we went there, we realized that they had many things, many products that they were not well known to the rest of the Greek area. Like they developed saffron, they had very good quality of honey, they have a big produce of goats and sheep products and so forth. Here you can see, so we said we want to work with you, we want to create for you a strategic, sustainable plan to help you grow the permanent population of the island. So the end goal is not just to increase your tourism and have many more tourists during the summer. We want to provide a plan that will, from the 1,500 permanent people, we want to take you to 5,000. And these 5,000 to be able to have a good type of living and not to miss anything from the things that they might have now in the mainland. So the island, it's not, because it's quite far away from Athens, it is popular, but it's not one of the top destinations like in the Cyclades. But still, we've seen that in the last few years, the population, the visits of foreign tourism has increased a lot. So first we said we are going to capture, it's my phone, okay. We're going to capture the key areas of the islands, like the strengths. So because these are the areas that we want to build and enhance further on. So first of all, the location and the accessibility, it was quite good. They have also an airport, which is very important. The climate, compare, for example, to Mykonos that we heard before, it's much more smooth. So like, for example, they can have a much more extended touristic period because they are saying that for them summer really starts in October and November, so they have a very smooth climate. They have lots of natural resources, they have a rich history and culture, they have many ancient temples around the island. It's very authentic. So anyway, a number of, you can read them through, a number of areas that we could actually go and build on. And then we said, when we started talking to them, they said, so tell us, what do you think? What do you think we can be? Because, for example, a few years back, one of the islands in the northern part of Aegean, it became the top destination for climbing. And they were telling us, from your experience, what shall we be? Shall we be a retirement place for the Western Europeans? Shall we become a health destination? Shall we become a sports-related destination? So we said, we cannot advise you what to be. So it's you people that will be living here, and you have to decide what you can support and what the natural environment around you can support. We can give you the guidelines and the ideas and examples of other islands or villages that we have seen, for example, in Japan, in Asia, in Europe as well, villages that they just created their own character and they are part of a country, they thrive compared to the rest of the areas around them. So we went and highlighted as well who would be the target audience for this exercise. And then we said, okay, we have the strengths, but there are some negatives as well, which we grouped in these areas, so which was the scope, the accessibility, the education, the health, and the employment opportunities. Because what we see as well as Deloitte overall is that there is a lot of talent in these areas, but because it's difficult for them to move to Athens or other areas that there are the big companies to work and so forth, you see that you have people that they have finished technical universities or maths, physics, whatever, and they end up doing, and they don't want to leave their island or their village, they end up doing something irrelevant to what they studied. So it's excellent to be able, and now we've seen with COVID, some of the benefits of COVID is this digital nomad thing, that basically you can go to these people, you don't move them from there, they can stay in their area. It's so easy now to be anywhere in the world and work for a big company around the world. So these were the weak areas that we identified, and then we said the key point was to be able to conserve the population and grow it, because from what they were telling us, the last few years they have seen a decrease in their population, and especially they have seen that people were leaving to go to bigger islands that had hospitals, for example, that they don't have there, or in some islands they don't have, they have up to primary school. So actually people have to leave the island in order for the kids to go to the next stages of school. We said in order to be able to conserve the population, we need to enhance some specific areas. Είναι το τηλέφωνο μου. Απλά βάλτε στο mute. Thank you. We discussed with them and we did a lot of analysis, and actually this analysis we had done with them working with the local authorities. It had prepared them for when Volkswagen, the global Volkswagen group, came to the island in order to invest. I don't know if you know about this, but Volkswagen is going to transform the island to become the first green, sustainable island. So everything in the island is going to run on green energy. So because they had done as well this exercise and this preparation with us, when Volkswagen arrived, they find them ready to get into discussions into this big investment. Okay. So our idea was focusing, identifying the current situation, and then based on specific strategic actions, how we can get to these goals, which is the retention of the permanent population and attraction of new residents, and new residents that actually can live and work from the island. How to increase the living standards, so better healthcare system, better infrastructure, better transport infrastructure, education, residential development, because a majority of these islands, like for example in KEA, the roads are not very well, they're not very good. The sewage system is not very good. So there are some infrastructure blockage points that may stop big investments as well coming. So like if a big hotel would want to invest, because of these areas, they might not go there. Then how to build a strong local economy and entrepreneurship with a focus on innovation. So we saw that these people, the young people of the island, they had lots of ideas, they had lots of energy, they were ready to be part of something bigger, but they didn't have the means. They didn't know how to do it by themselves. They didn't know this ecosystem that we were talking before. They were not aware of this ecosystem and how they can be helped. How to consolidate the wider market as an alternative tourist destination, and also how to support them to become a digital hub. I think any of these islands, and initially that was the thought as well, how to transform Astypalaia and make it fully digital. So we've seen from another case in Greece, a town called Trikala. The mayor there, he did something amazing. So he said, I want to transform the place. I don't have the money and the means to do it, but I'm going to find partnerships. So through partnerships, he brought self-driving buses. He brought different technology providers that wanted to test their products to this village. So it's a great idea to use some of these areas as test beds. So they have nothing to lose, they can only gain. So we said, why not? Many of these companies, they have products that big cities or big organizations would not be willing to use it if it's not ready. But what about some of these areas that they need any type of technology, and you can use them as test beds? So anyway, these are the four areas that the plan is focused on. We had visited Astypalaia before COVID, so the COVID period gave us the chance to work on our plan. We launched the plan just before Christmas, and along with this strategic plan and the investment of Volkswagen, I think they are doing much bigger and faster steps to be able to apply some of our ideas. And we are also working with them hand in hand on clarifications, on questions, and so forth. The great thing about this is that it has many tactics inside that can be used for other areas. So yes, there are some custom things that map only the island of Astypalaia, but there are some tactics and best practices that can be used for other islands. So this is something that we are doing as well now. So we want to take this plan and go to other areas that need such a plan to be able to go to the next stage. So I think that's it from me. Here, if you want to scan the QR code, it will take you to our report, or if you go to our site, we have it there. So that's it from me.
Excellent. Well,
if you have any questions,
thank you.
thank you.
First of all, thank you for coming and being game to come and meet the first KEANAISSANCE group and to share your vision. And well done for having it, because your colleagues at Deloitte give you a lot of credit for the work that you did in pushing this forward.
Thank you.
And it's a very interesting model of how you're working with local governments, citizens, an organization like Deloitte that has certain abilities to frame opportunities, and then securing Volkswagen. Maybe without sharing anything confidential, but feel free if you want to share something confidential, on how you were able to get Volkswagen to the table. Because when I read the press release, I thought, good grief, that's the CEO of Volkswagen. It's not like the head of Volkswagen Greece. It was like the CEO of Volkswagen was putting his stamp on the press release. That's a big deal. How did you do that?
I'll be honest, we didn't.
Okay.
So basically, I think, as I mentioned before, the work we were doing triggered this bigger investment. So I think we had already announced this strategic plan. We were working already with the mayor and the local community representatives of different parts of the community. We had heard, we knew that Astypalaia was Volkswagen was looking, they had visited other islands as well. Yeah, because they wanted to do this this transformation to another island. And I think from what we've heard and from the discussions we had with the mayor, as I mentioned before, visiting these other islands, they didn't find that they were ready. They had the structure and the strategy to be able to support their investment. So I think it triggered, it was a good connection, and it was a good...
it's almost like a definition of why preparedness leads to opportunity.
Correct, yes, yes, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. This I can tell you for sure, yes. They were very well prepared.
Very good. Yeah. Questions?
Yeah, yes, so it was very interesting as you went through the criteria. Just from your assessment, which elements of mentality change or transformation could be required here at KEA for it to have been suitable as a target for Volkswagen?
For Volkswagen,
Or for other investors of a similar type? Which elements of mentality might have to transform?
I think I'll tell you. So it's a personal view. I think the reason that Astypalaia is a bit so far away from the mainland, so the impact is much stronger than doing it in KEA, which is just a few minutes away from Athens, because in a way, KEA could be considered as an extension of the mainland. And it has already a lot of benefits. So you go around, you see very many beautiful villas. As it was mentioned before, it's a VIP destination. So it has already an attraction that Astypalaia doesn't. And especially all these islands in that area, they don't. I think the point that Julie made before is to be prepared. Also, I think the mayor of Astypalaia, he's very forward-looking. He's very willing to get any support and any partnership to help his island be transformed. So I think maybe this might be number one, to be able to have the local authorities, that they have the open mind, because some of the islands we had visited in the past, the mayors, they didn't want to be changed. So they were saying, why? We are very good, like, we don't want any tourists. We are good like this. We don't want to change. Life is calm and whatever. So I think this might be the most important thing, the local authorities and the mayor especially, to have an open mindset. And especially him, he's surrounded by many young people, so that they all have the appetite to see their island to be transformed, but not just as a touristic destination. They want it to be transformed so that their kids can grow there and they can stay there, they can find the opportunity to work. So I think if you have the authorities, the local authorities, that they have an open mindset, and then, to be honest to you, as a company, us, but I'm sure many other companies as well in Greece, and especially now due to COVID, we are very open to help each other. So on a different note to what we're discussing in Deloitte, we are advising pro bono as well, many startups, many scale-ups. We want to see, I mean, if the country is successful, if the country grows, we grow with it. So I'm sure that if the island, if the authorities of the island want to see a transformation, I'm sure there are many means and many ways they can benefit from. So I don't know if this answered your question, but
yes, I think it was a very helpful answer. Just on a practical basis, if for any reason the authorities of KEA approached you for some element of pro bono thinking, you might be open to that.
yes, we would be open to that. Yeah, we would be open to that.
That's
For sure.
fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it's Ulrika, please.
I came in 2019 to Milos, and I just want to come back to your comment saying that I heard from the people, from the locals, we don't want tourists. We
Yeah.
are happy, we feel free, even it's a wonderful island. And you're coming from the top. I would see it from the bottom with education. The youngsters, the kids, the primary schools, they should on the islands already start with education and then grow from there. And maybe both coming together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's right. Lee?
Yeah.
Lee had a question.
Yeah, I just wanna learn Dennis. You asked about like how when we had our presentation, how can we help? You mentioned Tricola. So we were obviously in Israel. You might heard our presentation, and Tricola approached us like a month ago, asking us to identify Israeli technologies in smart mobility and clean mobility to bring into the island. So I would really like to continue the conversation and see how we can partner with you guys and help bring the technologies into the island, because we're already doing it with Waya Island, and I find it super, super interesting.
That will be great, actually. That will be,
Now technology
yeah.
has no borders, so we really need to practice it.
Yes, that will be excellent. And
Thank
and
you for that.
yeah,
Indeed, very good.
okay.
I think, you know, these islands are almost like test beds, test piloting beds with different kinds of profiles that if you, and we've talked about this with Entrepreneur Country for quite some time, creating a test piloting app, and you have so many diverse ways that you could use the islands for that.
Yeah.
Have any of you read the Robin Chase book, the founder of Zipcar? Pierce? Yeah. And she talks about platforms as basically anything with excess capacity. And when you think of, or thinking of things different, you could think of this as a villa, or you can think of this as a conference platform, right? The reusing of things, not just destroying them and starting
Exactly.
all over as if you had all of the money in the world to recreate an island, but to rethink about how things work, and in doing so, to create those shared economics
Yeah.
and so forth.
And I think also the characteristic of these islands are that majority of the people, they have the appetite.
Yeah.
So the recipient of such technologies would be different to if you were to do it in Athens, because these people, they need the attention, they want to feel that people are thinking of them, that they are investing in them and so forth. So I think, if we can continue the discussion, it will be really interesting.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you again, Maria.
Thank you, thank
and,
you.
Thank you for sharing your vision
Yes.
with us. Thank you.
Thank you.